Dann können wir jetzt endlich mit der Green Dart wieder fahren. Ich speichere mal. Und wir haben hier.
I lurked near the house until I saw De Vilta leave in his vintage car. In the meantime, I had also recovered the tracking bracelet. That thingy proved itself to be very useful. The house was protected by a numeric code. Then again, I didn't expect to find the door open.
Ich habe gerade überlegt, wo er steht. Ja, das ist ja hier.
I couldn't try random codes the whole day. The possible combinations were endless. The screensaver showed an aquarium. Couldn't you just buy a real one instead? The reflection from the TV prevented me from understanding what was portrayed in the photo. Until I discovered the code to open the door, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Until I discovered the code to open the door, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Until I discovered the code to open the door, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Es ist ein Pony.
Who knew if the universal remote control trick would also work on that device? Bingo! I pressed the buttons on the remote control again, but I soon realized the sad truth. My purebred pony had kicked the bucket for good that time. It had been a faithful sidekick, but now it was time to part ways forever.
Okay, was ist das hier?
So that pompous dwarf was married. Maybe that could be my key to entry. So that pompous dwarf was...
Vielleicht brauchen wir die Info.
Oliviero was hiding something, but refused to tell me what it was. For now, I had to look for information elsewhere. Father Carlo left.
You just missed him. You'll find him around the corner, at the Church of St. Francis in Verma.
Good to know. As much as it might seem absurd, he could be able to help me.
Ja, weil er weiß, wann die geheiratet haben.
Hi. Do you know anything about the Marquis de Vilta's marriage?
You surely do ask strange questions. Anyway, no. I didn't even know he was married. I've never seen his wife.
If I say the name Tekla, does it ring a bell?
Tekla. I don't think I've ever read anything of hers.
She's not a writer, but a local who lives in the area.
Oh. But even so, the name doesn't mean anything to me.
Take care, Gaia.
So, mal gucken, wo der Pater ist. Ja, wahrscheinlich einen neuen Ort.
The church was exactly like I expected it to be. Colorful and bright, but austere. I wasn't exactly an expert, but it looked very ancient.
Der ursprüngliche Kern ist sehr alt, wahrscheinlich aus dem Jahr 915 nach Christus, aber die Kirche wurde nach 1213 tiefgreifend umgestaltet. Seitdem haben viele Renovierungen stattgefunden, die größte davon im Jahr 1795 durch die Arbeit eines lokalen Adligen des Marquis de Vilta. Zu dieser Zeit wurden so viele Instandhaltungs- und Verstärkungsmaßnahmen durchgeführt, dass später nur noch kleinere Maßnahmen nötig waren. Das Hauptglasfenster, ein farbenfrohes Mosaik, das von Bleieinlagen zusammengehalten wird, ist dem heiligen Franziskus von Assisi gewidmet und stellt einen Besuch in San Leo im Jahr 1213 dar. Der heilige Franz kam während der Investiturzeremonie, was ist das denn, eines edlen Ritters in die Stadt, und bei dieser Gelegenheit stürzte er sich in eine vom Herzen diktierte Predigt, die auf einem Lied der damaligen Zeit basierte, in dem es hieß: So groß ist das Gute, das ich erwarte, dass aller Schmerz für mich eine Freude ist. Der Graf Orlando, der an diesem Tag anwesend war, war davon so fasziniert, dass er beschloss, ihm den Werner-Hügel zu schenken, der als idealer Ort für die Meditation galt. Der Wolfnostau, Symbole des heiligen Franziskus.
I hadn't confessed since my mother forced me to take my first Holy Communion, and I didn't want to start again just then. I didn't know where the door was leading, but I found it unsettling. The plaque identified the figure as St. Leo, patron of the city. I imagined someone more muscular and fierce. Hello, Father Carlo. Lucky I found you.
Forgive me? What do you mean? Were we playing hide and seek with the children of the oratory?
No, I meant... Wait. Are they playing hide and seek? I love hide and seek.
Do you need something?
Oh, yes, definitely. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Ask me? Are you sure?
Absolutely not. Have you got any documents for the wedding celebrated in this church?
Certainly. How else could I remember all those names and dates?
Perfect. How much do you want to let me look at the data related to the wedding of the Marquis de Vilta?
We men of faith haven't engaged in such things since the scandal of selling indulgences, my dear Giacomo. De Villa? De Vilponi? De Vilta, 23rd of November 1992. Oh, but here I read about a divorce a few years later. How unfortunate.
Father, you just gave me some vital assistance. Among your parishioners, is there one named Tekla?
Certainly.
Really?
Yes, a tall, muscular man who loves beer very much.
But I'm looking for a woman.
I'm not the right person to give love advice, Saverio. And why are you asking questions about a tall, muscular man if you're looking for a woman?
Oh, for God's sake. Sorry, but you really make things slip out of my mouth. See you later, Father.
Okay.
By that time, they were all...
Okay. Da ist nichts weiter. Hier hat man schon
Ads
geguckt,
of
ne?
various kinds, missing pets, dental practice. Oh, tours of San Leo
Oh, warte,
aboard a
Hubschrauber.
helicopter. Wait a minute. A helicopter? Was it possible it belonged to the very person I was trying to track? The ad displayed an address, and on the bottom an additional note. The tour of Castle Sancti Leonis is cancelled due to permit revocation.
Nee, wahrscheinlich haben wir einen neuen Ort.
Hello? Hey, is anybody there?
Tschetschen, Polen. Okay. Huch.
I don't think I said come on in.
Are you crazy? You could have killed me.
If I really wanted to kill you, I wouldn't have missed the target. What do you want? I'm not buying Bibles or vacuum cleaners, so if that's why you came, I suggest you leave the house before I sit down. At that point, I could decide to improve my aim.
Oh Gott, die ist ein bisschen tough, ja?
You're still here?
Do you always welcome your guests like this?
I never receive guests. At most, clients. Are you a client?
It was Oliviero who referred me to you. He claims you might know something about getting permission to access Castle Saint something.
That pompous Marquisaster. I wanted to organize a tour that ended with a visit to the castle, but he refused to sign this useless piece of paper.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you have a permit?
I never throw anything away. Especially a nice piece of paper. You know, for when you're in the middle of the woods and nature calls.
I have it. I need it urgently.
Do you need it right now? I have some toilet paper in the bathroom.
No, I need it to get into the castle.
Ah, I don't have any use for it. But I don't think you'll be able to get it signed. That small-time noble only pays attention to those who have the same color blood as him.
Blue?
Black as pitch.
I also need to ask some questions. I saw you pass by in a helicopter earlier.
So what?
It's not something you see every day. Besides, I got the impression you were looking for something.
You're wrong. I was just taking a sightseeing tour of the area.
Tekla just offered up a nice lie. Tell me about the snake.
You should have asked my father. My area of expertise is flora. Fauna is just a secondary pastime.
You know full well what I mean. Not long ago, Liviero cited a snake as he cursed you, and I'm pretty sure you know what he was talking about.
And yet I don't have the slightest idea, all right?
Lie number 2. Do you know anything about Duke Cagliostro?
You mean Count Cagliostro.
Uh-huh. Then you do know something.
They talk about him in town all the time, but that doesn't mean anything.
That's enough. I don't need to have studied kinesics like Alice to know that you're blatantly lying.
I don't know what you're talking.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you do. Since I got here, both you and Oliviero have done nothing but talk in riddles. Initially, I just thought you were being coy towards a stranger, but now I'm convinced. You two are hiding something.
Who are you, really? And what the hell do you want from us?
I knew I had to give something if I wanted to get something. All right, let's dispense with the disguise. I'm not a tourist. I'm a detective on the trail of a sect of lunatics. I still don't know why, but my investigation led me right here, to San Leo, in the footsteps of Count Cagliostro.
A detective. Are you kidding me? Looking like that?
You're free to check my credentials with HPD in Miami. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you're up to, and what Cagliostro has to do with it.
You were convincing, but I still can't trust just any guy who comes here and purports to be a great detective. I'll have to do a background check. Let's talk again this evening, at nightfall, in front of the fortress of San Leo. And now get out of my place before I really lose my temper.
Okay. Da.
De Vilta hadn't returned home yet, and I had the feeling he would stay out a long time. By that time, I had nothing else to ask him. I already discovered what De Vilta's house was.
Ach ja, 23. November 92, okay. Quatsch.
Finally, inside.
Sehr gut. Mal gucken, dass er keine Spuren hinterlässt, ne?
There it was, right there in plain sight. De Vilta's signature. The canvas revealed two things. The first was the total absence of talent of the Marquis. The second was the void the divorce must have left in him. Everybody suffers, after all. The signature on the canvas could have been just what I needed. My goal was to copy the signature, but that wasn't the right way.
In that moment, it didn't seem to be a good solution to me.
The form was properly superimposed, but I still couldn't see the signature on the canvas. That form...
Er kann das nicht sehen.
I didn't understand how that could possibly help me.
I had to use it on the...
Was ist das hier?
The lamp would make the canvas more transparent, facilitating the forging work I had to do.
Ah.
And once when I was a child, my palette of paints fell on the ground. I could swear the result resembled that painting. The library was well stocked with classics and ancient architecture books, but I couldn't see anything that would be of any interest. I could move it to reach the highest shelves, assuming I really needed to do that.
Okay, da können wir gleich noch hin. Hier ist so eine Klimaanlage.
A brand new air conditioner. Mine, by comparison, produced an effect similar to an icicle in the oven. The upteenth closed door. It was useless to persist, unless I found a key somewhere.
Okay, vielleicht können wir ja mit dem Licht hier was machen. Oh, ja, können wir.
Even De Vilta himself wouldn't have noticed the counterfeiting. With the correctly signed form, I could finally access the infamous Castle Sancte Leones. Hey, I eventually learned the name.
Hat ein Weilchen gedauert. So, mein Lieber.
You again? If I'm not mistaken, I gently suggested that you vanish.
I don't think that will be the case.
But what? How?
And now, gently lead the way.
This way.
But did Lake let you enter?
Sure, I have a regularly signed permit.
That's incredible. Go ahead.
Hey, you.
Yes?
I warned Mr. Beringler about your arrival, and he seems unhappy about it. Very unhappy.
And you? Aren't you happy to be in my company?
If you don't shut that mouth of yours.
Ist ein bisschen aggressiv.
What's all this commotion? Lake, I told you to show our guest in. Mr.?
Bundy. Lazarus Bundy. I have a form personally signed by the Marquis de Vilta.
Please have a
Gute
seat
Nacht,
in my
Sascha.
office.
See you soon, my friend.
Ich auch bald.
It doesn't end here.
Would you like a drink?
I don't drink, thanks. At least I was able to spare myself that vice.
Good for you. Then, Mr. Bundy, I feel it's necessary to clarify some points. I am Walter Beringler, the curator that the Marquis de Vilta has designated to manage his property. As such, I can't help but ask, how did you get a permit to access the building?
I had been provident enough to come up with a good excuse for just such a possibility. Well, let's just say the Marquis and I have some business together, of which I can't openly talk about. Just know that I arrived here in San Leo with but a single aim. Spend the little fortune I've accumulated these last few years.
Fortune coming from?
Oh, well, I'm a partner of a company dealing mainly in boats.
Boats?
The Mulzberg Company in Miami, to be exact. You have no idea how profitable that sector can be. I strongly hoped he didn't check my credentials. On the other hand, even if he did decide to check, he would need time, while I intended to complete my investigation as soon as possible.
Well, if the Marquis has decided so, I guess there's nothing else to do. But please, pay special attention. This castle is very ancient, and as such, delicate.
I'd be like a child in an Egyptian museum. That is to say, I would snoop around everywhere, and occasionally break something without being seen.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must ask you to come back tomorrow morning for your visit. It is now evening, and we have to close.
I didn't realize it was so late. The appointment with Tekla and Olive occurred to me immediately. I had to hurry if I didn't want to miss them. They're late. I hope they hurry up. I don't feel at ease here.
Ach, guck an.
I don't have any hostile intentions.
Said the guy who just came out of the darkness dressed like a plague doctor.
I'm glad to finally meet you personally.
Give me a valid reason why I shouldn't rip that mask off and smash your face.
I can list a few. First of all, you can't be certain you're capable of it. But the main reason is that you're curious to hear what I have to say. Well, now that I have your attention, I'd say we can start. Until now, you've done a very good job. The lead that took you from Miami to San Leo was very weak, and a less resolute man wouldn't have traveled so far from home.
Or a less desperate one.
You're very frank.
And you have proven to be smart. And a smart man knows perfectly well how dangerous a desperate man can be.
I won't underestimate you as Radwed has done, rest assured.
Speaking of Radwed...
Radwed is the withered petal that risked letting the entire rose die.
Rose?
Now we have more pressing questions to face. First of all, your mission here. Maybe you still haven't fully realized how many things we must bring to light.
I can sense that there is something huge under my feet.
The lost seal of Count Cagliostro.
Lost seal?
An ancient symbol, lost for centuries, that
Ist
I
das eine
searched
Person?
for my whole life without success. It's the reason I chose you. I'm compromised, but you're free to move. You're alert, and you're motivated enough.
That's all? You could have found tons of detectives like me.
Touché. There's another reason, but we'll talk about that later. Now, I have another question for you. After which, you can decide if you still want to smash my face or not. You couldn't have made it this far alone. Have you been helped?
No. Everything I did on my own.
You're very trustworthy. You'd never betray your companions. Excellent. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must leave. I have a train to catch. A train that will take me to Rome at the first light of dawn.
You!
Don't wear yourself out. Don't fight the smoke. Welcome it. Make it yours. Take a deep breath. What you've just inhaled is, of course, a powerful sedative, but also something else. Let me tell you why I chose you.
Er hat nichts zu verlieren.
I can cure you.
Oh. In der Zwischenzeit in Rom.
Here we are, Lamberto. I told you to call me when you wanted to go down. That vase you broke was a rare piece from your collection.
You gave us a real scare, Professor.
Who are you?
I'm Alice, Professor. It's an honor to meet you in person.
Alice, like the heroine from the cartoon.
The cartoon came after the books. How do you feel, Professor?
Confused, like I've been sleeping for months.
I'm making dinner in a bit, my dear. Of course, consider yourself a guest of the professor. We'll think later about how to get him back to his room.
How come?
The ramp is old and battered. After being used, it takes hours before it will run again.
Maybe I can take a look in a while. I'm not an electrician, but I know my way around. Professor, getting back to us, the reason I came here is to ask for your help. But to do that, I have to show you something.
Okay. Hier an der Stelle, es war ein bisschen früh, aber es passt eigentlich ganz gut, weil ein Abschnitt abgeschlossen ist, mache ich hier schon mal Feierabend. Einfach weil der Tag auch sehr anstrengend war. Morgen dürfte es nicht ganz so anstrengend werden und übermorgen habe ich Homeoffice, dann wird es auch nicht anstrengend, also sollte eigentlich ganz gut passen. Es entwickelt sich sehr interessant. Was ich sehr gut finde, ist, dass wir mit Alice hier unterwegs sind und jetzt zweierlei hier unterwegs sind und uns hier austoben können. Das macht es doch sehr abwechslungsreich und ich bin gespannt, wie es sich hier an der Stelle weiterentwickelt. Vielen, vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. Ich weiß, wie gesagt, heute ist ein bisschen früher, aber ich nutze die Gunst der Stunde und schnell fertig machen, ab in die Falle. Dann sind knapp eine halbe Stunde mehr drin. Yeah. Schlaf gut, träumt was Schönes, bleibt gesund, ne? Und begeht den Tag morgen ganz zügig und hoffentlich erfolgreich in den Dingen, die ihr da machen wollt. Bis morgen Abend. Euer Firefox.